Greetings, witches, and those who love witches, or dislike witches, and those who just like black goats. Welcome to the Witches Movie Coven. I'm still working on that entries. We've been in here 15 years now. Who are we? What are we? We are witches talking about witches in movies. Occasionally television, occasionally plays, occasionally all sorts of things, but everything has to have a black goat. No, not really. I'm just feeling really silly tonight. My name is Patti Negri. I am one of your hosts. You might know me from television, Ghost Adventures, or other shows, or my regular podcast, The Witching Hour, my network Paraflix, my school, University Magicus, or bathroom walls across America, as I like to say. Let me pass this on to my beautiful co-host. Let's start out with the lovely Courtney.
That's me. I'm Courtney Buckley, ghost bait on Scared and Alone, proud witch, and you can find me on all kinds of places all over the internet at the themes on Blue Sky now and Twitch and none of the other sites because no thank you.
All right, and Jason.
I'm Jason Mankey, an author of 10. Wow, I can't even get them all in the frame. 10 books for Llewellyn. My 10th book, High Priest, about Raymond Buckland, the author of the Big Blue Book, will be out in the first week of May of this year. Very excited.
Thank you. And in beauty and elegance, Richard-Lael.
Hello. Yes, Richard-Lael is my name. Richard-Lael is one name, not two. If I were just Richard, I would be a... That is right. I am known as the gentleman psychic. I'm a psychic and a medium. I used to be a psychic and a small, but I gained some weight. I will say the one thing that sets me aside from all other psychics and mediums is that they're all doom and gloom or love and light, and I'm a happy medium. Anyway, with that out of the way, I am also known for Ghost Adventures and University Magicus, but I'm also known for going famous on, viral on TikTok for that one little voice clip of me, but also Anthony Padilla, all kinds of other things. I'm really easy to find. I'm a little bit of everywhere, but I should introduce you to my friend here. This is my peacock, Nathaniel Beauregard Cochet, NBC for short.
I'm obsessed with him.
He's fabulous. He's Belgian, 1939. He died in 1939. He hasn't stopped screaming about it since, but I don't blame him.
He's beautiful, and he's kept himself very well. Now
it had to be 89, 85 years old. 85 years old.
He's probably had some good work done.
I would think so.
Yes, you got to do what you got to do, especially in NBC business. Yes, it looks like somebody is missing our beautiful Heather. Heather Greene cannot be with us this evening. She's having pie and wine at home. No, she has other family obligations, but she will be back next week. So on that note, the movie that you all watched this week, The Serpent and the Rainbow, we're actually going to save that for another time. We thought we'd get it light and goofy and save that when Heather comes back. So we thought we'd talk about witches, our favorite witches, because that's what we do. That's in our title. So why don't I bounce this over to Courtney, because she looks like she is chomping at the bit to talk about her favorite witch.
I am. I have been frothing at the mouth to talk about this witch on our show. It is not a movie. It is a TV series. It is Sabrina Spellman, but not Sabrina Spellman from Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Sabrina Spellman from The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Jason,
You saved yourself. I almost turned the light off.
I did turn it off. Turn it off.
But you saved yourself at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
She's so much better than Melissa Joan Hart.
Yes.
I also that when The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina came out, I wasn't sure what it was going to be, and then when I started watching it, I was obsessed immediately because it feels like it made it okay to be dark. It made it cool to be dark, and it didn't have to be bad, and it didn't have to be, it was gory and it was a horror, but it wasn't, terrible. It was cool. It was fun. It was exciting. And as someone who, we all know I hex constantly, it spoke to that part of my witchy self, and that brought it out in me. So I think Sabrina Spellman, a la Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, is one of the most badass witches in television or movies. I also like, she says a lot, her name is Sabrina Spellman and you can't have it. There's the whole thing where she's not putting it in the book or whatever. And I think that that's pretty powerful. And I like that she, is coming into her own. She has that whole, moment where she's figuring out her own power, but she's also there for her family and she's also there for her friends and she tries to help everybody, but also, they worship Satan and that's pretty cool. So that's the top one. I have more for later, but someone else can go. That's my top.
Okay.
I mean, if we're going to talk about her for a minute, I did think it was lazy that they went with the satanic witch trope, right? I mean, there's a little Hecate later in the show, but like when I was watching the first season, I was like, well, this is lazy. Like, you could do better. Like, why does it always have to come back to Satan? I mean, because clearly they knew other things about witches too, right? And I don't really have a terrible thing against Satanism. I mean, some of it's really fun, and the devil is certainly in the DNA of like the modern horn god. But I just wish they'd done a little bit more. Was that a reasonable critique? I don't want to get
disagree. I don't disagree entirely, but I also think that of all of the movies that we've watched that have that trope in it, this was, in my opinion, and I'm not a practicing Satanist, or not that Satanists believe in the devil, but like I'm not a worshiper of the Dark Lord, even though I pretend to be sometimes. When the Jehovah's come to my house, but
the Dark Lord.
Yeah, but I think that they did it in a way that was interesting to watch. Like I wasn't bored watching it. I thought it was exciting.
I
don't disagree with you.
Well shot. I mean, beautiful show. Beautiful show.
I will say, as a diabolist, I actually liked the satanic trope. I thought it was quite clever. I thought it was quite funny. I think we need more of that. I think we need more satanic witches, but not like, ooh, the devil, bad guy.
Right.
I think it's better this way.
Maybe they used it because, again, if they're trying to appeal to like John Q. Public's not going to go know some other dark deity or dark god or goddess along the way. The horn god, Satan, just sounds better. Again, maybe they're falling into what Hollywood wants.
Yeah, I think that that's valid. I also think it's just beautiful. Like it's so beautifully dark that I think it's perfect.
As a former believer in the Christian deity, and well, the deities, plural, because they say that it's monotheistic, but it's not. Yahweh, Jesus, Holy Spirit, angels, saints, and the devil.
And Mary. Mary, don't forget Mary.
Oh, yeah, and Mary. So, they say that they're monotheistic, but they're really not. But anyway, I as someone who grew up in the church, I always loved the image of the devil. And I that was what informed my witchcraft. In fact, when I was a little boy, I remember this was in Pride Month in June, and I was little, and my brother-in-law was the pastor of this church, and of course he preached on the sin of a pride, right? And I remember he was talking about how, well, the devil was an angel of light, and he made everything beautiful, and people would want to be attracted to him. And I went, I want to be attracted to the devil. So as a satanic witch myself, I think it was brilliant.
Bring it on, Daddy Satan, all day. I'm with you.
All right, our first witch is a Satan. Okay, our second favorite witch. Who wants to say their favorite witch next?
Jason has a list.
I have a list. I don't know if I'm supposed to save it till the end because it's full of jokes.
No, let's just go through it. We don't know what we're doing. We changed horses midstream.
True.
I'm not that good on a horse.
I mean, the first witch that comes to mind for me when I think of movie witches is Margaret Hamilton's Wicked Witch of the West. And I'm not just saying that in honor of Heather, because that's Heather's favorite witch. But the portrayal is really great, even though she's mostly evil, I guess. But when you think of a witch in popular culture, that is always the first thing that comes up. And it changed how we view the witch in popular culture, because after that movie, witches were always in black, and they often also had green skin, which they did not have before. So that's the first one that I always think of. And I know we've talked about her 97 times on this show, but she's so awesome that we can always talk about her in 98.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but I love Margaret Hamill as the witch. I feel like as a person, she was so lovely and she was so good. And what I love about her also was that she was a true performer, where they had other witches who were going to be in, but they wanted to be glamorous and beautiful. This was the golden age of Hollywood. And Margaret Hamill was never a great beauty, but she loved the art, and she was willing to make herself to be less than attractive. And I think that in itself is a form of witchcraft.
It's beautiful.
I would like to add in, I'm sorry, I just looked like I zoned out for a second because I was looking something up because I wanted to get the name of it right. At the Salem Witch Museum, which is kind of a tourist trap, but I really like it.
What? No.
Yeah, it hasn't changed since the day of its inception, I think, but the information is fantastic. But they have a second exhibit now outside of that original room, and it is called Witches Evolving Perceptions. And they talk about her, and they talk about what you just said, how after her, witches appeared as having green skin and all that. So I think that that's really neat that like she's part of the history now.
The forever lexicon.
Yeah.
Forever lexicon. The ones that I keep relating to and stuff. Oh, sorry, Richard-Lael.
No, go on. I was just thinking about Margaret Hamilton, but go on.
I name all the favorite. Everybody knows I love Glenda. I don't care that it's Glenda because I have the pink stuff. I'm the bubble. I am. But the ones I really have fun with, again, these are modern. There's not the older. Is the aunts in Practical Magic. Those are the witches. The auntie. Oh, you have it right there. The auntie.
My second.
Magic. They left the girls to get out of their own trouble. It's like, nope, you figure this out. And it's just like, yeah, that they're mine. They're mine. That's how I see they are the best witches.
I have a confession.
Okay.
I've never actually seen it.
Turn your light off immediately.
I have never seen Practical Magic.
Yeah, Richard, I'm sorry, everyone in the chat. Richard-Lael is having connection problems. So,
in fairness, Richard-Lael, I hadn't seen it until we did it on the show. I'd never seen it before then either.
And it was right before I came in. So we
should do it again.
I agree. We should do it constantly, all the time, every week.
Yeah.
I love Practical Magic. That is one of my witchy comfort movies. They are the second ones on my list. And I actually wrote down the whole Owens family because not just the aunts. I love exactly what you said, Patty. And they open their home to the little girls, but then then there's the sisterhood between the girls, and there's the way that they just don't care what anybody thinks about them, like the aunts in town. Everyone makes up the rumor is that they fly off their roof and then they do it, and it's the coolest, and I love them, and it makes me feel light in my heart every time I watch it. I think that's the movie that made me feel like, oh, maybe I could do this.
Yeah, that is my favorite feel-good witchy movie by far. I can't believe you haven't seen it. Oh my God.
I haven't seen it, but I know the house intimately. Every time I look for Victorian or Second Empire, or I always find the house from that film.
It's the dream house.
Truly.
For me.
Dream house.
Yeah.
It is the dream house. So yeah. Okay, Richard-Lael.
I have a witch. And this one is going to be a complete shocker. You will have no idea who this witch is. Are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, maybe we can guess. Maybe you can guess. Who is my number one favorite witch?
I know.
Space Ghost.
Yes. No, not Space Ghost. Who?
Morticia Addams.
See, yes. Yeah. I would also like to extend it to the entire Addams female clan. because Margaret Hamilton actually played Mrs. Frump, who was Morticia's mother, of course, who was the witch in Wizard of Oz, and Blossom Rock, who is a witch, and Carolyn Jones as Morticia, she's a witch, and Wednesday Addams, well, she's a little witch. And the other thing that I love about, the entire Addams clan, but I like that in 1964, they stood on the fringes and they gave the middle finger. And they even had one of my favorites. It was the Addams Family Goes to School, and the truant officer comes to the Addams mansion to see why Pugsley and Wednesday are not in school. Wednesday is 6, Pugsley is 8, and the truant officer goes. He meets first Gomez meets Wednesday, and then he meets Gomez, and Gomez says, "Oh, but what is there for a 6-year-old to read? Well, but one day she'll be 26. Well, see you then." So he says, "Well, Mama, she's the long hair," and they go into the playroom, and Mama and Fester are playing. They're throwing darts, and the door opens up, and it just narrowly misses this fellow, and it goes right into the statue of the devil. So, I love, again, that they were on the fringes of society, and they did practice witchcraft, and this was 1964. This was, you're fresh out of Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best and the Andy Griffith Show. And they were different, and they didn't care, and they welcomed everybody.
Yes.
And that's my favorite witch.
That was beautiful. And I like that people in the chat room are saying yours. We want to know you guys' favorite witches too, and we will talk about them. I just saw Endora. Yes, Endora. We do love Endora. Morticia Addams, of course. So we want to know who you guys like as well. So let's go to some of the lists, perhaps, of or were we going to again? We changed horses 5 seconds ago before we went on.
It's the Addams way.
I have more.
Okay,
I can do another one. I have a few more actually.
I have more.
So my next one is one that we haven't covered on the show yet, and I hope that we will. It's a newer movie. I will try my best not to give out too many spoilers, but it is Gryla from Red One, which was one of my new favorite Christmas movies. I saw it this year.
Oh, yeah.
And she's the Christmas witch. So Gryla is, and hopefully I'm saying that right, but she's Icelandic. She has 13 sons, and like Krampus, she kidnaps and eats naughty children at Christmas time. So I love her. And apparently I have a thing for Karen and Shipka because that's who plays her. So there she is. And she is like the villain in all of this, and everyone's like, "Oh, the witch," and that's who it's her. And she is Krampus's ex-wife or ex-girlfriend in the movie, which I think is hilarious. So I love her, and I love that movie, and no one that I saw that movie with agrees with me that it was great, and I want to watch it 100 times.
I should watch it. I've never seen it. See?
It's free on Amazon Prime.
It's a list of things I haven't seen.
There's a list. All right, another list on yours, Jason.
I am going to go deep cut Game of Thrones witch.
Yes!
And she's a villain, and that's Melisandre, the Red Witch on Game of Thrones. And a lot of it's just because she's super hot. I mean, she's incredibly hot. And I threatened to divorce my wife several times while watching Game of Thrones if I'd ever met Carice Van Houten. But she's also like just like the strongest witch on the show. She can like change shape, and I think she's actually 300 years old. But she can use magic to look like as hot as 9 collective suns. And yeah, she's evil and she's ruthless. But everybody on Game of Thrones is evil and ruthless, and it's just the character's really good. In addition to being super hot, so there's that too. So I'm Melisandre. There we go. There she is. I mean. Wow. I mean, look at those eyes. I could just stare at those eyes.
I have no notes. I agree with every single word that you just said. Yes.
Yes, thank you.
I also have not seen this show.
Richard-Lael.
Well, considering how it ended, you didn't maybe miss as much as I would have thought before that.
We can save this for when we cover this show if we
Yeah.
do, but I, contrary to most other people, did not hate the last season.
Yeah.
I think it
We'll
could have
get-
been longer, but
We'll get to it. And also, I'm saying she was totally wrong. Yeah, she was totally wrong in so many ways, but she is responsible for keeping one of the main protagonists alive and in this world. So she did do at least one good thing during her
also
lifetime.
when you're that hot, you don't have to be right.
No, you don't. No, you just get what you want all the time because you're
Every
that
minute.
hot. Yeah.
It's like
Most of my list of
Did you say 9 collective sons? Is that what you said?
non-collective sons. Most of my list is just witches that I wish I could have dated. I think really.
Jason is on a different episode than us.
Is this going to be it's a special episode of the Witches movie coming? Fictional witches Jason wishes he could date tonight.
Oh my god!
Please
and we
tune
still
out.
have we still haven't gotten a movie with ghost sex in it, so I don't know what we're doing.
No, we really, 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 really have to work on that. Okay, what are we getting in that? We have Kelvin. We've got my favorite, the Warlock, Julian Sands, Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, Agatha Harkness, Maurice, Uncle Arthur, Bewitched. So we could talk. Oh,
Uncle Arthur, good call. That's a great call.
Witch.
Yes.
Excepting for when Steve Carell played him, that was awful.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh.
I mean, Steve Carell can love lamps all he likes. But playing Uncle Arthur was not the right thing.
I think we should just pretend that movie doesn't exist, right? Like we're witches, we can collectively just erase that movie from our conscious minds, right? That just didn't exist. That's one of those weird things that people think is real that is not real. Agreed? Yes. Yeah, I think so.
It's always on a plane. It's always on a plane at 30,000 feet. And it's good to go to sleep too. Just saying.
I have another witch.
Okay.
So my other witch actually it's more in the popular culture lexicon than she is an actual witch, but she has inspired numerous films. And it's Lilith. I love Lilith. According to the legend, Lilith and Adam were married first. God, in his infinite wisdom, created them both equally. And then he realized that Adam was not happy because Lilith was strong. And Lilith said, I will not lie beneath you because we were created at the same time. And I will not be subject under you. We are the same. And so God caused Adam to fall asleep. He removed the ribs so that she would be underneath him. And Lilith then was introduced to the serpent. No, she was introduced to the devil by the serpent Leviathan. That's according to the lexicon. So Lilith she's someone you don't want to mess with. She's someone who is about equal rights, and she is one who is a fierce protector of women and also of any minority. So I like Lilith. She's my second. And then of course Lilith from Frasier. I mean, I had the biggest crush on Lilith when I was younger. I had a big crush on Lilith.
Me too. The great B.B. Newirth. Right? That's the actress. Fantastic.
And B.B. Newirth played Morticia Addams on Broadway, The Addams Family, just so we're clear on that as well.
Really?
Colin took the words out of my mouth. Lilith was also fantastic in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Thank you. Okay. More witches?
It's your turn.
It's my turn. Okay, I'm going to go just with my favorite witches because I want to play with them and hang with them. I'm going to go to the 3 witches from Witches of Eastwick. I want to hang out with Cher and Michelle Pfeiffer and Susan Sarandon. I do. I want to go live in the big castle with Jack Nicholson and then beat him up. You know, that sounds kind of
nice. I like that.
Can't argue with
I'm just
that
looking back
thinking.
what those movies that they were so influential on me in a positive way about witches way back when. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that Cher is. I think that she is actually a witch. I think, like, literally, like I think Cher is an actual witch. I mean, she can't be 120 and still look that good.
She's a witch. She's a witch.
She's a witch. She's a witch.
Yeah.
Sorry. Every time I hear she's a witch, I just think of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. You know,
She looks like a witch.
she does, and she's magical.
And she's magical.
Yeah.
And she's magical. My little list keeps going blank on my phone. Anybody else have a list? I know you guys have a list.
I do. I have another new one that we haven't talked about before. Not necessarily a witch, but witch adjacent because they do a lot of magic. The TV show Once Upon a Time. Regina, the Evil Queen, and Rumpelstiltskin. I love them. I love that show. Their character arcs are insane. It is sometimes, it's like 400 seasons with like 12,000 episodes per season. So they do, I feel like, do the same story a lot. I don't care. I will watch it. I've watched it multiple times. I love that show. So Regina obviously plays the Evil Queen. So there's like the storybook land, is a Storybook or Storybrooke, like Maine or something, and they're all trapped there because she didn't get her way in the actual fairy tale land. And then Hook, look at him with his guy liner. I love this show so much. And those corsets on Regina, she's the best. So she cursed everybody in the actual fairy tale land to forget their memories and then trapped them all in Storybook or Storybrooke or whatever it was. And then her adopted son, Henry, goes and finds his birth mother. She's the chosen one. She has to come and give them all their memories back. And I don't know, they lost their memories like 7 times throughout the course of the show. I don't care. Every time it was just great. And every time there was a new fairy tale character that would come in, and there was a new villain, and there was new whatever. It was just fantastic, and the magic is great. So I love them.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did watch enough to understand, and I actually really love it. I actually played Rumpelstiltskin for an event many years ago, so I watched enough to know what he was, and good choice.
He's fun, and that's the other thing I didn't really talk about because I love Regina, but Rumple is pretty hilarious. But he also has a great character arc. Like, you know, he's the weakling, and then he, you know, can't defend his family, and then he grows a spine and then becomes the dark one, and you know, whatever. So then it's just great. And then he has a whole character arc with Belle, and I think that's beautiful. And I love the way that they weave all the stories together. So there are other witches in the show, but those are my favorite, and they're witch adjacent, I think, because they do magic. So
it's beautiful. We also were going to talk about, I don't know if we're prepared to do that, or in one of our little threads, we're talking about the spell crafting, the witchcraft of our favorite witches. Are we prepared to talk about that, or is that another day?
Well, instead of like direct quotes, I actually came prepared with some spells. But I still have more witches on here.
Okay, give us more witches.
Well, tons. Jason, do you have more?
So somebody's already brought up Hermione Granger in the chat. And Hermione is probably the
Jason wishes he could have dated.
No, this is so.
Yeah,
there's an amendment to that. So I think Hermione's probably the best character in all of the movies, and they spend too long with Harry, who's pretty boring. We never really meet Hermione's parents, and she's out of the main 3. I think she's the most overlooked, which is, you know, really disappointing. But she is obviously the smartest of the 3, and they could not accomplish anything in those movies without Hermione Granger. Also, I've never had a crush on Hermione Granger because she's way too young. That's gross, Richard-Lael. However, I did
like he's the one that said it.
Did marry her adult doppelganger because my wife Ari is Hermione Granger. Not that she necessarily looks like Hermione Granger, but Ari, in the fact that she is always correct and will let me know when it's not Leviosa, it's Levioso.
No.
She's very much Hermione Granger, and I married her. And even
Oh.
though somehow she's in the Slytherin house, which means she's evil, she still really embodies that sort of Hermione energy. So I can't help but love her. You know?
That is beautiful. You married Hermione. That is great.
That's so cute.
Oh, and we can't let that slide down. The season of the Coven, Stevie Nicks,
Mhm.
because and I just thought she was, because it's Stevie Nicks.
Mhm.
Wait. Stevie,
Oh, there she is.
Love it.
Iconic.
iconic. She could ride a goat.
Oh my god. Stevie on a goat, Stevie on a black on Bling Phillip of all the goats.
Philip,
Oh
yes.
my
I
god.
did Stevie, and then I could put the Wicked Witch of the West on my other Bling Phillip, and then I could put Glenda in a bubble, and oh my gosh, I could do a whole thing.
We're playing witches.
We're playing witches. All right, more witches.
I have a bronze cherubim, a pootie.
That works. He could ride a goat.
He's very heavy.
He could write NBC back there.
I think he's too heavy for that.
Yeah.
In fact, I was afraid I broke my toe. I had set this down, and I didn't realize that I had set it underneath the writing desk when I was moving things about, and it fell on my toe. I didn't break my toe, but I broke something else, and I don't remember what. It wasn't me. It was something else. Anyway, I have another witch.
Okay.
So I have the worst witch. Actually, in the worst witch, it's Tim Curry as the Grand High Witch.
Good on.
I mean, if you've never seen it, you don't have to. It's really cheesy. It's 1980s, the worst witch, but it's Tim Curry, and how can you not love him? How marvelous!
You know what I love more than Tim Curry is your impressions of Tim Curry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I actually, it's so funny. Years ago, when I was a theater kid, there he is. There's Tim Curry in The Worst Witch.
Wow. How old is he there? 14 or something?
Right?
He looks like he's a 14-year-old Billy Crystal in that picture.
But I love Tim Curry, and I was a theater kid, and I was invited over to watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and that made me question everything, and I had feelings, and I didn't quite understand, and I was this good little Christian boy, and I just was so corrupted, and I loved it so much. And so I would secretly start listening to the soundtrack of Rocky Horror Picture Show, and my ballet company and this music company, we sort of joined forces, and we had a show called Dream Sequence, not sequence, but sequence, like, you know, and we did a bunch of 70s songs. So I went from Rico Suave and Her Name Was Lola, She Was a Showgirl, that one. And then I came back on stage singing Macho Man, which, yeah, whatever, but Macho Man in full on drag with feathers, and so they layered my makeup, and they said, "Oh my God, you kind of look like Frankenfurter." And I said, "Oh, how marvelous!" They said, "I like it too." So I did. I met Tim Curry twice. The funny thing was, years later, Tim Curry's Dr. Frank became one of my characters that I played, and Tim was going to be down in Beverly Hills at a book signing, Soup of Books or Book of Soups. Anyway, he was in Beverly Hills. And my friend who's Italian, she says, baby, you must come. Tim Curry, he's going to be down in West Hollywood. Oh, you must come. And I said, no. I'm dressed like Dr. Frank. I'm in a corset. I'm in 9-inch heels. No. I know he hates this. No. I will not. And there's probably going to be hundreds of people there, and I can't deal with that. And she says, no, you must come. You must come. And I said, fine. All right, I'll go. So I did. And I met Tim Curry the first time physically then, but I forgot the first part of the story. So a week before all of this, I had a dream. And the dream was where I was standing on a street corner, dressed as Frankenfurter, and at an intersection, I see Tim Curry. He comes in his wheelchair. He's wearing his black turtleneck, and he looks at me and he goes, "That's nice." And then we sort of go on our own ways. And that's when a week later, my friend told me that he was going to be down in West Hollywood. So I did go. I went, and Tim Curry is wheeled in his wheelchair. There were only maybe 10 people there, not a big crowd. And Tim sees me and he goes, "That's nice." And he reads my jacket and he says, "Evil 69. Well, that's nice."
Wow.
So yeah, I met him twice. One time in the astral realm and one time in the physical.
That's fabulous. That is good. Okay, more witches.
It's your turn, Patty.
Okay. Since I'm doing groups of witches, like the Eastwick witches and the practical magic, I'm going to go with the Sanderson sisters.
Oh, yes.
Sanderson sisters. Yeah.
You have a favorite?
No explanation. Yeah, no explanation needed. But yeah, do you
have a favorite of the three?
No. I don't.
I have to say my favorite of the three, we would think Sarah Sanderson, you would think Najimy, whatever, I can't remember the character.
Kathy. Okay. What is her?
Kathy Najimy. Sarah Jessica Parker.
No, the other one. So the
Kathy Najimy.
No, not Bet, the other one.
Kathy Najimy, isn't it?
Yeah, Kathy Najimy, but I can't remember the character's name.
Hold on,
who cares? We know who you're talking about.
My favorite was actually Bette Midler. I loved Bette Midler in that. But of course, I'm an old queen, so why not?
I mean, I think Bette Midler is the biggest, obviously, of the three. Like when she's on screen in that movie, it's like there's 9 of her at the same time. But if you watch Kathy Najimy closely during the movie, she does all kinds of weird, funny little things that are pretty funny. And she does the same in the second one. That thing where she rides a Roomba instead of a broom in the second one will be seared into my mind for eternity, and I love it.
Yeah, that's why
they're all three great in those movies, though.
I could not pick because Bet is Bet. And I just actually love Sarah Jessica Parker. Her little silly is I can't forget. I have a quote that I always quote her, and I cannot remember it right now. And then everything, what you're saying about Kathy Najimy just doing her own thing over there in the corner is hysterical. So they're all my favorite.
I love that.
Okay, who's next?
I got one in honor of Jason. Mad Madam Mim from The Sword and the Stone.
Oh yes, I do.
And I'm gonna hex you, Jason. There's a new sweatshirt on mysterycontrol.com that I will be ordering as soon as humanly possible, and so everyone go look at it. It's for you. Mad Madam Mim, as I became an adult and an adult witch, is who I feel like I embody. She's crazy. She looks like she just got electrocuted and rolled out of bed at the same time, which is how I operate 90% of the time. And I love her. And she just turns into crazy things and shrieks a lot. And I think she's hilarious. And there she is. Look at her. She's so cute.
She's adorable.
I love her. And I once also had purple hair. I just love her.
Lilac, that color looks berry grape on her. I did that on purple. I think it's marvelous. Violet, you think of those plums. I certainly hope they don't make you puce.
Yay! Richard-Lael. Man with words. Man with words. Okay, more witches. Jason.
I have to go with Lisa Simpson from The Simpsons. I know that canonically that Lisa is a Buddhist. However, Lisa defends Wicca during the show and mentions witchcraft a couple times, is part of a coven for one episode, right? And is also a strong, independent young woman and is probably the best character on The Simpsons. Certainly, I think Yeardley Smith is the best voice actor on The Simpsons doing her primary character. So I'm going there, and there she is. And Treehouse of Horror, she's also dressed up as a witch. So I think Lisa Simpson is a witch, and as part of one of the greatest TV shows of all time, therefore she's one of the greatest TV witches of all time.
I think so too. I hadn't thought of her as a witch, but I think that you are correct. She is definitely defends it, and one can be a Buddhist witch.
Yeah. I mean, she's probably a part of like a feminist witchcraft group, but that's great too, right? And that would be Lisa Simpson. You can see her as part of a pagan student group wherever she goes to college, because it's pictured in my mind perfectly. Lisa's a witch. There shall be no debate about this. The Simpsons writers need to get that through their heads. Lisa is a witch.
She's got the pointy hat. What else?
Valid.
And the pointy hair.
Okay. Who's next?
I have one more.
Okay.
If no one else does.
Go. I have one too. Go on.
Go. It's your turn then. It's your turn.
Okay. So my last witch that I would choose, my last witch would actually be Lisa, but not that Lisa. It's the Lisa from Death Becomes Her. And is she a goddess? Is she? I don't know. I love her.
I love
the
her.
sordid topic of coin. And now a warning. Now a warning. No, I love her. I love the fact that she lives forever, sempre viva.
Oh.
I love her.
Beautiful. Beautiful. These are good witches, you guys. These are good witches. All right, Courtney, you had one more witch before we get into spells.
I do. I just would like to real quick give kudos to our producers who are coming up with these images on the fly, because we did not share these. We changed our minds at the last minute about what we were doing tonight, and everyone made their list and nobody shared it. So the fact that these pictures are coming up. Now, having said that, best of luck, guys. See if you get this one. Last but certainly not least, is Morrigan from The Killing Tree, because she made do with what she had. Jason,
you know that it's warranted. You know it.
I do not
know it.
You
know it.
Don't even listen to me. I have reasons, okay? Not just because I love The Killing Tree. She made do with what she had around her, okay? That's how I perform witchcraft. I don't go to the store and buy things. Sometimes I go to the dollar store and see what I can find, or I just use what's around my house. And if I had to put mayonnaise on the floor, I would. Is that her? No, I think that's the other girl. If I had to put mayonnaise in a Star of David on the floor to make my point, I would. And maybe that's what I'll be doing later on tonight when I'm hexing you for turning your light off about the Christmas tree. And there you go.
Oh, you don't need to hex me, Courtney. Come
Well,
on. I sent you
apologize.
a Christmas Killing Tree hat, which you never wore on the show.
I wore it to school. We had Christmas Bling Day and I wore it to school.
Okay, that makes me feel better. But I mean, clearly my love is unconditional and real, but the show is more fun when I turn the light off.
Yeah, and it's more fun when I hex you. And I will with my Star of David of mustard, because that's what I have instead of mayonnaise.
Okay, perfection. All right. Courtney, speaking while we're here with you, didn't you say you had some spells?
Oh boy, do I. Okay. So first, I do have one regular quote, and it was from Rumpelstiltskin. I tried to do things from the ones that I picked, but Rumpelstiltskin said all magic comes with a price, and he said that a lot throughout the whole show of Once Upon a Time, and I just thought that was very important. So I like that. Then Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, we have the spider spell. So they have they do a whole thing where they put a picture in with the spiders, and I don't know if you can see this, but I have 3 of these. I love spiders, and I only was going to have 1 of these, but as they were tattooing them on, I was like, but what if we put one here too? And then what if we put another one up here too? So that was great. But so their spell for that was, spider, oh spider, pray why do you spin your pretty white web so fine and so thin to catch all the flies and make them into pies? Spider, oh spider, do you not see? Here comes a big, buzzing, blundering bee. He'll spoil your fine net whilst you fume and you fret, but no mercy you grant and no mercy you get. So I liked that one. And then I have 2 from, I have them in different places. I have 2 from Practical Magic. We have the Amis Veritas love spell, where I think it's just beautiful, this whole movie. But she's a kid and she is making a spell for her true love. So she says, he will hear my call a mile away. He will whistle my favorite song. He can ride a pony backwards. He can flip pancakes in the air. He'll be marvelously kind, and his favorite shape will be a star. And he'll have 1 green eye and 1 blue. The guy I dreamed of doesn't exist, and if he doesn't exist, I'll never die of a broken heart. And of course, he does exist, and she finds him, and that's beautiful. Then, see if you guys can recognize this one. I can't enjoy this, but everybody else can. Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, adder's fork and blind worm's sting, Barbados lime is just the thing. Cragged salt like a sailor's stubble, flip the switch and let the cauldron bubble. That is the spell from Midnight Margaritas.
Okay. Midnight Margarita.
And then I would like everyone to just buckle up. I transcribed this ancient tome, and I don't know if the lights will go off or like something crazy will happen as I recite this, but bear with me. D me la pe me ne sa marlinda sa ir ma arise. And that is the spell to summon the killing tree.
All right, no lights, but
Oh God. You don't know how hard I worked for that, because they don't do subtitles for that one. They just say chanting in the subtitles. So right before she says it, she opens the book and you can barely read the scribbles. So I had to listen to it and then try to remember what she said and also read it from the scribble, because it's pretty close to what's ever scribbled in that book. And so I had to try to figure it out. So I worked very hard on that. You're welcome. Jason, there was a hex inlaid in that for you. So look out. There's a Christmas tree outside your door.
Screams and Goat. Okay. And we have no quotes because we have no movie, but this is so much better. Thank you, Courtney.
You're welcome. Those are all quotes. Those are all actual quotes from the movies. They're just spells.
But those are beautiful, and kudos to you, because I couldn't have sat there and written all that down. If it had been written down. Okay, now what I want to talk about. We're getting there, and it's too early to introduce ourselves.
Well, Jason has some jokes, I think.
So, I've done some of like what I put down for what would be the minute, but I did write a list of 10 witches, and they're not all necessarily ones that I would want to date. But some of them I didn't get to, so they might be worth reading. Let's see. I did post this in the chat, but I love the character of Elaine Parks in The Love Witch. While the premise of The Love Witch is hard to believe, Elaine, played by model Samantha Robinson, is unlucky in love. No one that beautiful would ever have trouble finding a date. This movie looks like witchcraft from the 60s and 70s. And despite being a murderer, I would have run away with Elaine at various points in my life, got hand-fasted to her on top of a mountain, and opened up a witch shop with her until she murdered me, of course. Another favorite witch that we haven't talked about is Thomasin, which is played by Anya Taylor-Joy in The Witch.
Yep.
When you think about her, she's a witch who has sold her soul to the goat of all that is good, empowering, and pleasurable. How can she not be one of our favorites? And as again, this is like a list of fictional witches I would like to date. But Thomason was the only woman from that era of Puritan New England I would have ever given my witchy heart to. Another great witch we haven't talked about, of course, is Ron Burgundy. Last week, Courtney
Thank
established definitively that Ron Burgundy is a witch, or at least witch adjacent. There's no other way to explain his ability to speak to dogs, magically fix his hair, astral project, and be that damn good at the jazz flute. Also, he seems to carry an aura of protection around himself at all times, which is why he is never injured during news team battles. We did mention a little bit of American Horror Story Coven. However, I think the best witch on that show was Marie Laveau, because when you have Angela Bassett as your actress playing you, you know that you are going to be awesome, right? And there are things about that show that bother me, like Marie Laveau sacrificing a baby. However, when it's Angela Bassett, it still makes it awesome, because Angela Bassett should be on television and the movies like all the freaking time, because she is amazing and I love her. And also, here's a witch I definitely do not want to date, and that is this witch has a name which will surprise some of you, with Mortiana, the subterranean witch in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. She always sort of lives like under the castle, and we should add Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves to our movie watch list. As I said, I do not want to date her, but it's amazing what kind of divination she can do with an egg, and she knows how to hurl an axe. So if you ever got like stuck somewhere with her, she would be useful because she could cut you firewood. She's also the mother of the Prince of Nottingham, played by Alan Rickman. If you can give birth to the movie's best character, then you are a very, very powerful witch. And finally, a comic book witch that I think people often overlook, and that's Zatanna. And Zatanna was on TV in Justice League International and also on Young Justice, two of the greatest superhero cartoons and or television shows ever made. What makes Zatanna great? Well, she got Batman to sing in an episode of Justice League. She's super powerful, and yes, she has cartoon legs to die for. Yes, this is probably another cartoon witch I would date, because I have serious problems and I'm not any older than 8 years old. However, she's great, and she dates Batman in one of the cartoons, and she dates Robin in the other. And if you can date two of my favorite superheroes, you're obviously pretty awesome.
But wouldn't that break them up, Batman and Robin? Everyone
Different
knows
shows.
that Batman and Robin are a couple.
Different shows. Zatanna in Justice League dates Batman, and then Zatanna in Young Justice, which is a whole different imagination of DC Comics superheroes, dates Robin in Young Justice. So different Robins, different Batmans, different worlds.
Sure.
Comic books are very, very complicated.
We're
What
getting
was that? Was it the Covenant with all those hot male witches?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would date all of them also. Just to add, all of them, all the time.
Those are very cute. And Keanu, of course. We love Constantine. We have Keanu.
And Matt Ryan, who's Constantine in Legends of Tomorrow, who is the better Constantine. Also a very attractive man. I would run away with him for a weekend. That's for sure. Tune in next week for the list of 10 male witches that Jason would date, because that's a list too. We can get there.
All right. So you guys, we think everybody jumped in with their favorite witches. I probably missed my whole list, and my list doesn't stand up. But so we will save Spidey Pool. We will save whatever movie we didn't do for another time. And we thank you guys for just changing horses with us midstream. But before we go, does anybody have anything coming up that they want to talk about? Because that's what we do at this part of the hour. Courtney.
Nothing really. I would suggest I just want to say again, thank you to our producers, Rob and Christine, because those pictures, like, you guys are on fire tonight. That was amazing. And also head over to mysterycontrol.com. A montage. That was impressive. Head over to mysterycontrol.com, because I will be once again heading there to spend all my money, and placed all my orders for my entire wardrobe because some new things are coming out. So check that out. Otherwise, you can find me online. Like I said, I am at the Themes on Blue Sky. I am at the Themes on Twitch. I'm still kind of sneakily on TikTok, unsure about that, but don't look for me on anything else. That's it.
Thank you very much. Jason.
I will be in Detroit, Michigan from February 20th through the 23rd for the Convocation Festival and Conference, and then in Minneapolis from the 21st to the 23rd for Paganicon. Also, and you don't have to do this, but a couple of my books are under $4 right now on Amazon via Kindle. So if you've ever wanted to read The Horn God of the Witches, The Witch's Athame, or The Witch's Book of Shadows, which are usually much more than that, you can get them super cheap right now if you read things on Kindle or on your phone. And I'll still love you even if you don't buy them, but I might hex you with Courtney's help.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. All right, Richard-Lael.
Yes, that is me. I don't have really anything really coming up at the moment. I am still planning to go to Scotland, but it's been postponed to next year. As of now, I still am doing classes at University Magicus, and I do tarot and spirit sessions here in my home in New Orleans. So if you're in the area, I am easily found, thegentlemanpsychic.com, though honestly, I get so many emails I rarely ever check. I'm still on the Instagram, but I'm going to transfer over. I know that's probably the best way to find me.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we're going through changes and things. And look at all those beautiful artwork by Richard.
Oh, yeah. Scared and Alone. That's some of the artwork.
Yes.
Hey, that one right there is actually behind me.
Yay.
It certainly is.
Right here.
Right
That's
there.
the real one. Mm-hmm.
That is beautiful. So, all right. If anybody's going to be near Hanover, Virginia next week, Richmond, Virginia, Hanover, I'm going to be there at Hanover Tavern Paracon. It's a fundraiser for some really good causes, a bunch of paranormal people coming together. And that's the last weekend of this month. And then mid-February, I come to Los Angeles for the Vampire Ball. It's our big LA ball at the Mayan. Kind of 3 or 4 days of great stuff, not quite as big as New Orleans is, but big and fabulous. Mm-hmm. So that's it. I still am on all those evil Instagram because I haven't figured out Blue Sky yet. I'm there, but I don't know my password. I'm working on it. I'm all those other places, but go to pattinegri.com and I'm really easy to find directly. Really easy to find directly. Check out the Witching Hour, my regular podcast, and like us and follow us and tell your friends all about. Oh yeah, and I have my first Llewellyn book as well. Dollcraft is going to be. You can pre-order it on Amazon now, and it is going to come out in June. I'm so excited about this. It's both haunted dolls and magical puppets. I don't know if they've ever been mentioned in a book together before, all from a witchy perspective. So I'm very, very proud and very happy about that. And remember, you can have your own Black Phillip and Bling Phillip on that same mystery control with us. You can dress like us. You can goat like us. You can
sleep with Richard-Lael.
Sleep with Richard-Lael.
That is true in more than one way.
Yeah. And Jason, you look like you're ready to say something.
No, I just thought the show was getting dirty for a second.
No, a pillow.
Yes, I remember. It's the pillow. So I was like, whoa, we're going places tonight.
It's a family show.
Going spaces.
Colin's going to a haunted castle in Portugal for the weekend. And you're not bringing us?
How dare you, actually?
What? Yeah, we want to know what you guys are doing. We love all you. We want to say how much we appreciate all you guys who come every week, whether we know what we're doing or not. You support us. You chime in. You give us your opinions. So the only thing we didn't do that I don't know how we can do it is there's no way to wands up or wands down.
Which is in film.
Wands up.
In film.
Yeah, we could do better sometimes.
Okay, maybe we could do better sometime.
We could do better sometime.
Yeah.
But do we get what is the word I'm looking for? Are
you not entertained?
Good, Courtney. Okay.
Thrice divine and thrice design and thrice again to make up 9.
And if you missed part of tonight's episode, you can rewatch us on YouTube
That's
at
right.
your leisure, along with previous episodes of our show.
Yes, yes. So
Love that.
come back next week, and Heather will be back. And what are we doing next week? Do we know?
Ouija.
Ouija.
Yeah,
Ouija.
Ouija.
The serpent and the Ouija board.
Oh,
The witch that came from the sea.
No, Ouija.
Oh,
It's Ouija.
okay.
We're doing Ouija.
all right. We have one more thing to do. It is at hour 1, 2, 3.
Ah.